Hey y'all, and welcome back. We are so excited today. We have Chloé Millard with M4 Advertising and PR. Chloe, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you ladies?
Doing great. So usually we just start these off real simple, give a little background on Chloe. What's Chloe about? Where's Chloe from? And what's Chloe doing?
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much again for having me today. I'm super excited to chat with you ladies. So again, my name is Chloé Millard. I'm the founder and owner of M4 Advertising. We are a full service marketing firm and ad agency, and we specialize exclusively in luxury marketing. I'm also a mama of three kiddos. I used to say three under five, but our big girl is now five. So we have two older girls, Haley and Ellie, 5 and 3, and our little man Jackson, he's about 15 months now. So luckily they're all out of the house today, so it's nice and quiet to chat with y'all. But yeah, super excited to be here.
Three kids and running your own company. So let's just start there. So you've got three littles and are you running this by yourself? Do you have partners?
No, yeah. So I have a team. So this business is actually my fourth startup. I've done combinations in the past where I've acquired existing businesses, I've purchased franchises, I've started, subscription box services, things from the ground up. And so now this business is almost a nice blend of those, and I'll talk more about that later. But really, it's just I feel any woman working in corporate America can totally relate. I previously, my corporate background is in medical device sales, pharmaceuticals. I spent over a decade in the healthcare sales space. And every company is different, but I had the privilege of working for quite a few because I chose to become a mother. I was pretty horrified at how it is very alive and well that pregnancy discrimination still exists. I've won not one, but two lawsuits of two totally different companies where I experienced pregnancy discrimination just for having children. And so I don't want to dive into stuff just to talk about the ugly, but I'm very open and candid about my experience as a working mother and what really fuels me to start these businesses. They often coincide with me coming off of maternity leave because I'll either return to a job that no longer exists, or before I take a maternity leave, I would often be asked to take a demotion or to be reassigned just because they didn't want that time out. And also to clarify, I mean, there's lots of positions you can hold in the corporate world. I worked myself to the ground to climb the ladder and climb the ranks in med device. And so my former position, I was a regional surgical sales executive where I was a director for 6 or 7 states. I was tasked with building a team from scratch. And that was my last position before I had my son. And, not knocking that company at all. They didn't do anything wrong. But when I returned to work, it's just the nature of that industry. My travel had increased when I was gone. So after having, our third child, I was then expected to travel 75% of the time, which is every week you're in a suitcase, you're on a plane. Now, being off of maternity leave, I was, looking forward to going back to work. I said, oh, that's great. But, personally, my partner, my husband was like, hey, I can't do this, like we got to figure something else out. And so we're in a new state. We live in Texas now. We're originally from Chicago. And so being here, not knowing anyone, I was giant pregnant when we moved. So I really was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want to jump in with both feet. So how can I build a life for us here by making connections, meeting people, developing strong relationships, but also replacing my income and building a new business that I can start over here. So that's really what inspired and motivated me to start M4. But to be honest, I didn't know what I was going to do. It was on maternity leave, and I give so much credit to mamas because I feel like we are the most creative, driven, hungry people out there. And I have so much more drive now that I'm a mom than before I had kids. I work 10 times harder because every minute I'm not with my kids, I need to make it count so I can get home. So anyways, I just was searching and searching what can give me that flexibility to be at home. And I'd been burned by, other businesses in the past that I had started. The one where I acquired 2 facial bars in Chicago, which is so random. And I know maybe by looking at me, you think, well, obviously, I've never had a facial in my life. Like I know I take a long time to get ready, but I hate the spa. I really do. I don't like facials. I don't like treating myself. I'm very much a homebody person. But if it makes money, it makes sense, I guess you would say. And so I just stumbled across these 2 businesses that were for sale. They were from a franchise company, and facial bars, I didn't even understand the concept at the time, but it's a beauty salon that exclusively does facials. So the beauty industry was getting very segmented and niche. And when you do that, it increases efficiencies. So I decided to do that when I had our second child. I bought these businesses, literally took our whole life savings. My husband and I both leveraged our personal credit, our personal finances. It's like taking out a loan to buy a house when you're acquiring existing businesses. I did that in October of 2019. We took on 30 employees. The book of business was roughly 80K a month, and our expenses were almost half that. And then in March of 2020, we all know what happened. And so that blew my mind, was terrifying. I don't know even how I weathered that storm. I kind of just found a grit that I didn't know I had. But needless to say, I go into that story to tell you, I didn't want to do that again with this business. I didn't want to bring on 30 W-2 employees. I didn't want to bring on overhead of brick and mortar locations. All of those things I still very much have a little bit of PTSD from. Those are great businesses, but I wasn't ready for that yet. So I stumbled across this opportunity for a franchise publication where it was a hyper local magazine that really just is targeting the most affluent markets, and it is branded as just like a local publication. So that really intrigued me, sparked my interest. I decided to go ahead and purchase the market rights. And then upon canvassing the area that we live, so Trophy Club, Westlake, Southlake, Texas, very affluent areas, I met with so many incredible business owners and found a demand in the market where down here in Texas, there's not a lot of direct marketing. A lot of business owners here, I love it. It's very grassroots marketing. It's very word of mouth, the old South, like really what you would think. It's a big community, but it blows my mind as somebody coming from like a major metropolitan area like Chicago. I'm like, how do you not have direct marketing? How have you not streamlined this? And people were saying like, oh, outside of the magazine, can you also do this? Can you do that? And that is really where, kind of like the birth of M4 Advertising came from, this global idea of being able to help businesses target affluent luxury markets more efficiently and effectively. So again, we help business owners really hone in on their ideal client, and we only specialize in like the top 1 to 3% demographic. And so we do have a team, and we also have multiple arms to our business. And all of this has just morphed so rapidly over the last year. I mean, daily we're making changes to the business. We're adding new things. I'm always a yes woman. I've kind of prided myself on that. One of my favorite figures that I follow, Richard Branson, he's famous in my mind for saying like, if you don't know how to do something, just say yes anyways and figure it out later. Like, don't say no to opportunity. And that can obviously get you into trouble. And for me, it has. But I've definitely, found a better way to kind of build my business, make changes as I need. And so right now we're just kind of in the middle of everything. So very long-winded story, but.
Good one though. Okay, so elaborate a little bit more. You kind of started to on this concept of luxury marketing. So maybe give us some examples of client work that you're currently doing that would fall into that luxury category?
Yeah, absolutely. So luxury marketing is essentially the concept of if you don't already have a luxury brand, and what we mean by that is we look at all aspects of a client's branding. So we specialize in a lot of rebrand. So right now we're actually working with an internal medicine doctor who is wanting to add on an aesthetics, a med spa to her space, and wants to bring her logo, her brand into modern day, those types of clients where they've been in business for 20 years, but they want to pivot a little bit and target a new demographic. And sometimes it takes a lot of consulting work to bring their branding to be a little more modern. And then when we do luxury marketing, it's all about looking at the high income demographic. So really what we mean by that is we just focus on affluent clientele. And that means we can only work with certain businesses because not every business is looking for that. If you're selling just, a widget or a gadget, it's $20. You want impulse buyers. You want somebody scrolling on Instagram who's known for impulse purchases that will just grab it and run. We found in our studies though that those clients typically have some buyer's remorse. They might end up being pretty finicky and difficult to work with as a business. Almost like the lower end your product is price. It sounds counterintuitive, but the lower item you have, the more difficult that buyer can tend to be. They might take a long time to think about it, or if they do buy it, they might want to return. And so when you think about this luxury consumer, and this is kind of a story we paint for our clients, we try to find them better clients, better customers for higher price points. So then ultimately that business, they have to either perform fewer services or they sell fewer products, but they make more money. So again, it's all about working smarter, not harder almost. And so this luxury consumer, one of my favorite things about it, and this is our market research, our statistics, is they more often than not tend to be women. So we really help our clients learn how to speak to women, how to market and brand their products for the female consumer, and then also have them change their mindset a little bit more into what the affluent consumer, how they purchase and what they think. And so there's a lot of studies and a lot of, again, research that shows that these types of consumers, they purchase based on trust, not on price. So they are not at all influenced by deep discounts or big flashy sales. They are influenced by how is this going to make my life easier, better? More often than not, it's getting them time back. So the affluent consumer is very time focused on, I don't have time for this. I don't want to worry about this. Who can solve this problem in the most trusting way? And that all circles back to the original point of your branding. So we not only help our clients rebrand their product or service, but we obviously help them target that ad and tailor their message directly to the affluent consumer.
Does that typically look more like digital ads or print ads or event? I know we saw you manage special events as well. So is that a big piece of it? What does that more often than not look like? And I realize it would be different for each business.
No, yeah, absolutely. Great question. And I mean, honestly, for each business, what we try to do is we employ what we call a 360 approach, because if you just pursue one of those vehicles you mentioned, you really are hindering your chances of high results, high ROIs. So, the print ads that we have in our digital and print publication, Trophy West Magazine, those we reserve for clients that have products that they need to educate consumers about, that are wanting to build a high luxury brand, because a lot of what our print advertisers are getting from the magazine is that elevated branding permanence. And what we mean by that is the relevance in our area. The more consumers see your brand and they see this modern illustration, that is how your brand stays top of mind for them. So when they see your digital ad online coupled with that, it triggers. And that's the thing saying most people, it takes 8 times of seeing the same brand just to remember it, just for you to have recall. So it's all about having those touch points. So if you just do print, which some of our clients, they're like, yeah, I'm going to put all of my budget on this one thing. They're never happy. And that kind of goes back to what I was talking about with the lowest price point. If you have a consumer who wants a discount on your lowest price point, in my experience, I've learned it's just not the right fit. So as we've grown as a business, we've really grown into better assisting our clients with transparency, with honesty of, we've started saying no a lot more. And I just said I was a yes woman before, but when I'm working with clients, I want to get them results, and I want to ensure that they are going to thrive. And if I don't feel that from our conversations, I will recommend and refer them to someone else. So our 360 approach, for some clients, the print magazine works the best to start, and then we layer in the digital components and the events. And the events are so big in our area in Texas because I've never seen a market that does brunch and charity galas and girls' nights out more than here. I feel like I go to brunch full time with a lot of these women. And so I'm very honored to be part of all of these different boards and charity organizations. But it is a very, very social community where I've decided to build this business. Like this would never fly in Chicago. Like I would never be able to replicate this up north. But the events, and that's a great question on your point, is those are very important for a lot of our clients. So we have, again, gotten better at making sure our clients know what their responsibility is in our relationship. We've had a lot of folks where they think they can throw all their money down on one print ad or just social media ads and not look at them, and then not go to events, not be involved in their own business. And it just, you see, it doesn't pay off. So making sure they know, like, you have to come to these events, you have to mingle, you have to network. People need to see that you're a person and you're not just a business pushing ads. So all of those things we wrap into our PR funnel as well. So we have our own exclusive photography, videography team that we work with, and they come, they'll shoot the events, they'll shoot our clients out in the community, and then we partner with our clients to put all of that PR brand awareness on their website and really, again, building their image.
So that kind of runs into the question that I had. So, sorry, I apologize. So for the advertising of your own company, do you kind of use your PR that you grab from your clients to advertise your own company? Or how does it work in regards to you advertising an advertising company?
Yeah, I love this question, and I love that we're chatting today because today's day one of me hiring out another company to assist with our marketing. Because I find that even other owners that I am connected to and friends with, it's not just me, but I've found that it's just so funny how, if you're a marketer, or my closest friend who is our exclusive photographer, she and I commiserate all the time, where she's like, I do all this stuff for my clients, but when it comes to me, I forget about myself. I come last. And I very much relate to that. And I very much relate to that just personally in my daily life, like being a mom or owner, you're wearing all these hats, you think about yourself last. So for my own business, I'm a big offender. I mean, and I am honored that you ladies went and looked at my website and you saw event planning. That's something that we've pulled away from because it is such a pain in the ass. Excuse me. It's just the biggest thing where there are people that's their only job. There's a woman that I recently connected to who's a rock star. It's all she does is events. And I'm like, yeah, I cannot go toe to toe with you. I'm going to outsource and contract you for everything. So our website, I literally built in a weekend just to have it in place because we started getting these requests for these contracts, these overnight demands. And when I started, I thought I was just a magazine, right? And this was over a year ago. I was like, I'm just going to build this little magazine. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mama and we're going to have fun all day long. No, it was very stressful from the jump. Had so many people saying, well, this magazine, I'm not really interested in it. I'm interested in this. Can you do this for me? And I'm like, well, shit, I never thought of that before. Yeah, we can do that. And in a weekend, we were live, we were doing marketing retainers, and we were going. So as of today, though, I've seen that in order for us to scale, obviously, and have more scalability, we're really taking a fine tooth comb through all of our digital presence, our digital ads. We are beefing up. We're going to have lots and lots of different A/B tests running. And also a big issue I had early on, and I've always joked about this, maybe you two have as well, but there's that saying where it's never a problem to have too much business, or it's a good problem to have. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. And before I knew it, I was like at the bridge where I was like, wow, I'm failing. Like I right now, I have clients and customers that I can't provide for. I'm stressed out of my mind. I'm up till 4 a.m. every night. And when I'm focusing on that side of the business, the marketing and the PR, the magazine starts to fail. So it's just like a never ending cycle of trying to keep all these balls from dropping. So what we're focusing on now is automating, getting our tech stack in place, finally just biting the bullet and hiring contractors like other companies to come in and like partner with. And I still have a big hang up, especially in this business, on hiring a W-2 employee. Everything in marketing and ad sales, it's all just freelance typically, because it's such a volatile market and you can do all the work remotely. So it's very, very tempting to take advantage of that, but just trying to find the right fit, the right blend for us, so we can grow the fastest. That's where we're at. And I mean, to your point, we hadn't done any of our own advertising simply because we couldn't take on the business. It was like, nope, we're already at capacity. And now I'm reevaluating of how can we get out of capacity so we can take on as many clients that want our services, and then be able to continue advertising to streamline that. So yeah, just to be honest, we did not have anything.
So then what's your main source for getting leads or getting clients? Are you big in networking groups? Is this all word of mouth? Especially since you moved from Chicago to Texas, how'd you build that up?
Yeah, no, exactly. And that was definitely a challenge. So, I mean, I'm grateful we're in a very tight-knit community. So when we moved here and I was giant pregnant, like we were living in corporate housing, Airbnb for 8 weeks. Then we relocated and we bought our forever home in Trophy Club. And these women that I didn't even know did a meal train for us. It was so sweet. We didn't know a soul in Texas, no friends or family here. And all these strangers are delivering meals. And I was like, why are they doing that? That's so nice. And I don't know how to accept nice things. I'm like, what do you want from me? Should I pay you? Like, I have a problem accepting help. And I found out they were part of this wonderful organization, Trophy Club Families. And I loved it. I was so grateful that I wanted to get involved, and I was elected president. And so right now I'm president of our whole Trophy Club Family Association, which again allowed me the privilege to connect with all these wonderful mamas. And so I also, as a marketer, get direct access to market research and feedback real time from what these women that are my clients' target demographic, what they're looking for, what their pain points are. And then obviously, you know, after joining that, and after I was no longer giant pregnant and out of maternity, I went full force with all of our local networking groups, which is what I recommend for every new business owner. I mean, that is the best thing you can do for your money. And so through all of that networking, I got very busy. I built my magazine. I launched my magazine. And I noticed about 6 months after that, that was where I kind of hit my capacity, where I was like, okay, I have too much business. I don't know how to handle it. I got to stop going to lunch for fun every day with these groups. You know, like I'm not going to add value and I'm not going to retain because I'm so scattered. And so I got a lot of those clients from word of mouth originally. And now that's just not scalable, you know, because you can't just be at every function and hope that your paths cross with somebody who needs you. And so that is 100% why we're at the turning point of like, okay, we need to build, you know, all of our leads on this side of the business, because if we get a ton of business, we can at least automate it. And now for like the marketing and PR side, that is very content heavy, work heavy types of activities where we want to advertise for that, but we also need to make sure we have the right teams and resources in place place to take on business there. So that's always been kind of our catch-22 is like, well, we can't advertise because we can't, accept the growth. And I've heard that from a lot of my clients as well of like, well, we already have too much business, so we don't need advertising. And I'm now seeing why that's a bad thought to have, like that's the wrong mindset. Because you get into a point where your funnel runs dry. And that happened to me a few months ago. My, funnel ran dry, and it was like, oh, wow, I haven't been actively working on keeping this full at all times. Because when you're owning a marketing firm, you're not just cranking out ads, like it's sales, and that's part of why, my business is set up the way it is, because my whole background is in sales and marketing. So I've seen that pretty close up, that if you're not on top of your sales game, it doesn't matter how great of a designer you are, how great your ads are, like you're not delivering that service. So yeah, it's just, always kind of all over the board.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're okay.
Go ahead. I had a question. I just hit the wrong button on my.
Oh, okay. Well, you go then, because I
Pulled up
feel like I've
weather.
asked a bunch.
Yeah, I didn't know if I don't need to know the weather, but it gave it to me. Okay, so my question is, now that you're at this point, what are you looking forward to, like in the next like 3 to 5 years, or even a year from now? Like, what are your short-term and long-term goals now that you realize, okay, I've got to do X, Y, and Z to get past this hump of I'm too busy?
Yeah, and that's a great question, and one that I have honestly been surprised that I haven't actually been able to answer. Like in the last year, if anything, I have just learned to give myself permission to not know what comes next. Right? Just to be open to possibilities and opportunities. I'm someone who has always identified as an obsessive planner of always knowing what my life looks like, what my future is going to look like. I feel like a lot of middle children out there can identify as being like a little perfectionist, right? You want all these things, but, and having this business, and I'll be honest, our third baby, that really set us over the edge, because he is a hellfire. I love him. He has my heart, but he is just a little crazy man. So all of those things in my life have forced me to accept good enough instead of perfect. And looking into my future, it's just, I really want to work-life balance as my ultimate goal. Because again, being brutally honest and transparent, it's not all glamorous. The life of an entrepreneur. I was up till 4 a.m. last night because I decided to have the day with my family, which usually on the weekends I'm working all day, every day. But I was like, no, I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, which is my new favorite thing to do. I'm addicted to that feature with Apple. I just discovered it a few weeks ago. So if you ever catch me during the day, you can I'm literally just have it on. But because I was out with my husband, just having a lunch and spent the night with my kids, I was up till 4 a.m. working. So my goal in 3 to 5 years is to continue to practice this mindset of it can wait. Like I don't have to just stress all day long for no reason and to automate things, but to be a little bit more specific, in the mind of my business. The last year, I've been really excited to explore different industries and to work with different celebrities, public figures. So we've done work with a lot of former NFL players. That was an industry I knew nothing about. It's embarrassing what I thought real positions were on the football field. Like my husband's obsessed with football and we've been together 15 years and I still can't tell you short end and long end. Like it's bad. It's really bad. And I was hired to do all of their marketing for this former NFL player in his gyms. And I still can't even tell you the positions on a basketball team. But anyway, so I really enjoyed though being in that kind of arena, learning new things. And same with the PR side of our business. We've accidentally, broken into being a talent agency. So to give you an example, we recently, just this past week, we signed a celebrity artist who does incredible, beautiful beautiful paintings that are just mind blowing. And he's been signed by brands like Nike, Don Julio. He's done work for millionaires, billionaires. His artwork is in their home. And we connected from a charity gala, and, you know, I loved his work, and his wife was that event planner I mentioned. So we did an article on them for the magazine, just so impressed by them. They're this beautiful couple. And when we were doing their photo shoot, I was just like, dude, you're just so impressive. Like, who's your label? Like, who represents you? And he was like, seriously, like nobody. And I need help. I'm to the point where I'm getting so many bookings. I don't know what to do with them. And I was like, dude, we can do that for you. Like, we negotiate on people's behalf all the time. We can represent you. We're just a professional firewall. And just like that, because of a relationship I had and a connection, he's one of the first people we've signed. We're bringing him on. It's almost like our little beta talent agency to see how this works. But right now it's him. We have a sports medicine surgeon who's a big public speaker that we're working with as well. And then this other woman who's just very influential and wants to be like on national stages with TEDx talks, and a life coach. So we're trying out, you know, a few different people for this little beta program, but I'm really thinking that in the next 3 to 5 years, that's kind of where my heart wants to take me, to being with more of like a label status and representing public figures and just being able to get them national attention. I mean, at least right now, that's just what gets me excited, because it's all strategy. It's kind of like a game almost, and being able to work with really great people. But yeah, I mean, if I talk to you a year from now, we'll see. It's probably, I'll be running a zoo or something. I don't know. It's just everything that ends up being different. It's like, I just say yes, and then figure out how to pivot later if it doesn't work. So yes.
I always think about how, like, as entrepreneurs, we have this, I don't know, ability or disability, how you view it, of needing to switch it up, right? Like, you get bored so easily. Even like if you are super successful in your business, then it almost gets boring, right? Once you've put all the processes in place, then you're kind of like, okay, well, now what? And then you'll see people jump to a different direction. But what's really cool is whenever you have a business like yours, and you called them arms, but you can have different arms within your business that kind of give you something new and exciting to focus your attention on for a little bit. Not that you're dropping everything else, but it's evolution. It's evolving your business. So
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
cool. Okay. I'm sorry if Nichole asked this, but I don't remember. Do you have business partners, or is it just you? I know you said you have some no W-2s or trying to avoid the W-2s, but do you have any partners in business currently?
Right. No, so no equity partners. You know, the only partner I really consider my husband. You know, I consult with him on all the finance still. In my previous businesses, he was our CFO. It was great. But no, I purposely structured this business just for me. So I have 100% ownership and stake, but people that I'm closest to that I consult with, the woman I mentioned earlier that was our exclusive photographer, she is also like my best friend, dearest heart, Samantha Ferris. We are very, very close in business, but she runs her own businesses. She's also like managing director of our magazine. I mean, I'm a big believer in people that you bet on, that you believe in, that have your back. I'm huge from like promoting within, you're my ride or die, like anything that you can do, like you have it, versus just always wanting to hire outside. So she, I would say, is probably one of my only partners. But again, we're just very close, no equity stakes. And we have a lot of very other, you know, close female entrepreneurs in our circle that we, you know, like to partner with, tag team projects on. But yeah, in terms of our staff and our employees, currently it's pretty lean. And a lot of the outsourcing we do is to like corporate contracting companies and partners of that nature. But every project's different. So we only have, I would say, 2 freelancers that we work with on a regular basis, month to month. And then the rest we outsource through, you know, like international companies. But for the most part, all of our clients' design work, we do keep that in the US, that stays in-house. Same when we need editorial for the magazine. I'm big on shopping local for that. We have a lot of amazing local writers that, you know, I always want to pay to small businesses for any copyright that we need. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I've been pretty excited to just keep it lean. And I'm seeing now, though, as we evolve, that that could be a little bit more of a character flaw on my end. I didn't realize I had issues with relinquishing control. But I feel like as we grow, I've seen that. And then even issues with delegating, to where it's a problem within me where I'm like, oh, I feel bad asking for help. I don't want to bother anyone. So I'll just do it myself. It'll be faster. Nope, it's never faster. I end up not sleeping, being cranky, being crazy. So yeah, it's I think we all get to that point where your business, especially after your first year, we just hit our 1 year anniversary on March 1st, and I'm feeling it where it's like, yeah, this is not sustainable to just continue to be this lean, and it's also not scalable. So I think that we're, into some exciting things in 2023, and all you can do is just roll the dice and hope it works out. And if not, reevaluate.
You just said something that I wanted to touch on, and it literally just went out of my head.
Oh, I hate that so much. Does anybody else have ADD, or am I the
Oh
only
yeah.
one?
Oh yeah.
I'm like, and the caffeine. I
Yeah,
swear
I've
they're all
got literally a loaded tea and a coffee all on my desk. Like I need all of that caffeine in my life. That's probably bad plan,
You
but
just made me feel so much more secure. Thank you. I'm like, I have like 3 drinks right here. And I'm like, what's wrong with her? Why is she always drinking something? It's just all the
yeah, I
coffee.
haven't pulled my water bottle out. I think that's the only one that hasn't made the video. My coffee cup
Yeah.
has, my loaded tea has.
I think about that almost every time we record, because I always have at least a coffee and a water, and sometimes a protein shake also. And so I'm always like, oh, I wonder if people like catch that, right? Like, do people see that? What is she drinking now?
How many drinks does this girl have?
I,
Okay, so I remember you hit on it, and I feel like it's the most common theme that I ever hear when it comes to entrepreneurship, and that's the control factor, letting go and delegating out what you feel like no one's going to be able to do as good as you, right? So
Yeah.
what I know, obviously you're trying to you're going there, but and you also are kind of like, I don't know which direction I'm gonna go with it. But what would be your ultimate goal? Obviously, it can be short term. I know that you've got a lot of things that are coming up, like the celebrity thing. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know that at all. So that's awesome. It sounds like your your business is definitely flourishing just on word of mouth, which I'm really impressed. And I need to learn how to do that because my business does not flourish on word of mouth. But how are you planning on delegating some of this out? Like I see that you have the work-life balance. You use the do not disturb. Andrea is also a huge fan of the do not disturb. I will text her and it's on, and I will just say notify her anyway to make it where it like goes loud. Like I'm like, I don't care if it says do not disturb, I'm texting her.
Yeah.
But which I probably need to get better at as well. But I know that work-life balance, you've said, is very important to you, obviously with 3 children, your husband, and then you have this flourishing business going on. So what are your plans in regards to delegating it out to where you have more back? Or is there a plan to delegate it out, or are you still just trying to keep it small?
No,
Not
absolutely.
making it small.
No, I mean, and that's a great point. And that was something that I just reevaluated and took on recently, where a big issue I've noticed, and I just came off of this wave of specifically on the magazine side of our business. We have a lot of amazing ad partners that are in there that our community sees. It's all great. Originally, though, and again, this is just normal for business. When I met all of these partners, a year ago, I had a lot of free time, just starting the business. And so I gave them so much one-on-one attention. We built these great relationships, made all these promises that while I did keep, I definitely feel that their expectations were far too high, because we had this very direct, tight-knit relationship. And so naturally, as my business progressed, expanded, and grew, I became far less available. And I saw that very, very quickly rubbed a lot of our partners the wrong way, where it's like, hey, you used to stop by every week, or we used to get lunch, or we used to be able to chit chat. What the hell? And it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't stop liking you. I just, other people are paying me. I'm trying to grow this and I'm getting the kinks worked out. And it's very hard, I've noticed, in this industry, because this is my first time being the face, the front lines. I've always been in device sales, and that's easy. If you're a manager, you have the company, you can blame all these things. But when you're the company, everybody just, kind of treats you as like, I expect an answer. I expect it right now. Like you're on speed dial 24 hours a day. So there's very, very little forgiveness. There's very little understanding. And that's just like a client agency relationship. And so I learned that that's a little normal. And so what I need to do in order to delegate and make this more feasible for me as a human being is I no longer want to be the face of, what all of our clients are experiencing. And so being able to delegate and hire certain individuals to take over as account managers, or like, hey, you're sitting down with me as the founder and the owner, because I want to make sure you're a good fit for our network and our community. And then once you get up and running, we have all these resources for you. This person will be your direct point of contact. This person will help you with any ad questions. And then here's our portal for more resources. Like I want to be able to just have it be turnkey, you're off to the races, and find another way where they can get regular touch points from me that don't require my time. Because with the clients we have, I physically could not visit all of them in a week, even if I wanted to, or, in 2 weeks. And it's just very, very challenging to keep everyone happy when you're spread so thin. And just thinking about that concept of how to keep clients happy, that I feel is just like a full-time subject matter of, let's automate these email campaigns. Let's set up gift baskets. Let's make sure we get this account person. I got to train this account person. All of those things make me want to blow my brains out, if I'm being honest. I'm like, I don't have time. I can't breathe. And then I have my own family. I can't do that. Like, so I start to just spiral. And then the ADD kicks in and I see this other flashy thing. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot this client needs a contract. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, I've made no calls today. I've done nothing. My funnel's still empty. I need to delegate. So it's always like that constant battle of feeling like you're doing everything you can. You're running yourself into the ground, but it's still never good enough because everyone's still mad at you. And it's just like, what do you want from me? So, and that I feel like I may get a little too real on this podcast. So please stop me if you're like, we don't want to scare people from entrepreneurship, but I'm so sick of all the fake, fluffy, like it's so great and fun and you have all this freedom. And it's just, if you're truly building something and you're building it great, I've never felt less free. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I don't report to a person, but all of these clients feel like they're multiple managed, and so it's just, there's always that fear, that, thought in the back of your head, like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I can't do it? And then I look at, my daughters and our little baby, and I'm like, no, they're seeing me build something, and I want to raise little mini entrepreneurs because I don't want them to be dependent on anyone, on a paycheck, on a man, on anybody, and it's just, to remind yourself of why you're doing it every day. That is hard. I feel I need to have a Post-it note on my mirror or something. I'm always like, what if somebody comes over and sees all these little messages I write to myself and start to wonder if I'm losing it? And I'm like, well, who's coming into my bathroom? It's fine. But there's just all these little things where I'm like, I need to delegate. I need to change my mindset. I need to change my habits. And then I need to find time for all of those things. So if you ladies have figured it out, please let me know on another call, because I could use that.
No, we just started a podcast so that we could ask a bunch of people how they're doing it to figure out like what's the right answer.
Oh, I love that. That's genius.
Yeah, we're like, someone's going to give us the answer to how to do this.
Yes. Yes. No, we always joke but not joke and say that we literally started this podcast for what just happened, for what you just said. Because there are some really harsh realities to being an entrepreneur, to owning your own business, that just, it's social media, you get the highlight reel always, right? Like nobody's out there being like oh, I can't pay this bill today. Nobody posts that,
Oh, I'm
Uh,
broke.
and so it is like it what you just said is really why we do this, because we want people who listen to realize that it is a roller coaster. There are high days, there are low days, there are constant decisions around how to expand or how to shut it down. And yeah, so
And also just to show that there's multiple ways to get to where you're wanting to go in regards to entrepreneurship. Like there's people that they take that freedom to a whole nother level and they work on their business 2 hours a week and they make what they want to make and they move on with their lives. And then there's people that are like, I haven't slept in 7 days and my business is still going down. I need to figure out how to get this back up. Meanwhile, still trying to have a family and trying to do all that. So, I mean, I feel like they're so far on the spectrum that this podcast allows everybody to kind of see inside of what it's like. It's not always rainbows and unicorns. And a lot of people will fluff the number that they're making and the business they're doing. And I feel like people need to hear like the real story, not just, I just made $1 million and I'm going to Europe. Like, liar.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
But you're going to Europe on a financed credit card.
I was just gonna say, you got a new credit card.
Who's paying your airfare.
I want to see your debt. Like, show me your debt. Okay, I feel like you kind of hit on our final question. Andrea, do you want to ask it? You want me to ask it?
I can ask him.
Okay.
So we ask every guest the same question, so you're not exempt. No, we always ask if you could give one piece of advice to someone who's just getting started, or someone who is considering maybe leaving corporate and starting their own, going on that entrepreneur journey. What would be one piece of advice you would give to them?
Oh, that's a really great question. And I know this is probably going to be a cheesy answer, but it's the first thing that popped into my head. And I've learned this year to just go with my gut and say it. But believe in yourself, I feel. And again, I know that's cheesy, and everybody, especially in the beginning, you might have an overinflated sense of believing in yourself. So be careful. But I always like to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And maybe that's the pessimist in me. I do a lot of preparing for the worst. But yeah, I definitely would say it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of grit and effort. And, I've been following just a lot of fun podcasts like yours and, entrepreneurs that, really highlight when it gets hard and most people quit. That's when people that buckle down and really, really go for it end up succeeding and take off. And seeing that really helped me, because I know you both have mentioned it. As entrepreneurs, we get bored easily. There's shiny object syndrome. And if you have a past as well, I mean, like any kind of childhood trauma, like can even shape your entrepreneur journey, where if it gets hard, you have that flight mode and you're like, oh, I'm not good enough. I guess this didn't work. I'll just stop. Definitely in the beginning, learn to really believe in yourself, be your biggest cheerleader. And I'm a big proponent of make your moves quietly. Like I never announce anything that I'm doing. I try to be very humble and quiet about it. And then, I just, that's kind of just the nature of who I am. But I've found too that it helps, especially early on. If you start blasting to everyone and telling, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then you don't do it, I think it just keeps people from ever truly achieving what they can do, because they get down on themselves too quickly. So just put both feet to the fire, believe in yourself. And I think that'll be helpful.
Thank you.
I love
Chloé,
it.
if our listeners are not already following you or familiar with your business, where can they find you online?
Yes. So I have my personal page on Instagram. Please feel free to follow me there and make a new friend. But I'm at Chloé, that's CHLOE 33 Melissa. And that's where I post, all things my business, but also I sprinkle in my family there as well, because they're my why. So yeah, I'd love to connect.
Chloé, thank you so much for taking the time today. I know that as a busy, not only business owner, but busy mama, that you have a lot going on. So we really do appreciate you taking the time and coming on today. If you liked, I'm sorry, I apologize. We'll edit that part out, you know, where I'm coughing up a storm over here. But yeah, thank you, Chloe, so much.
No, my pleasure, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. And it was so fun getting to know you. I hope we connect again in the future. I'll be following you.
Definitely.